Good evening and bienvenidos to Metropolitan Planning Council's 2022 annual virtual celebration. Yo soy Julián Posada, a member of MPC's Board of Governors. We're grateful to you, our many friends and partners and supporters for making the time to celebrate with us. The theme for this year's event is Honor the Heritage, Embrace the Future. And that's just what we're celebrating tonight as we take a look back at MPC's nearly 9 decades of dedication to the Chicago region and as we embark on the work ahead that's focused on a much more equitable future for all of us. This evening we'll honor Dr. Helene Gayle and the Chicago Community Trust with the MPC Champion Fighter Award. Through Dr. Gayle's leadership, the Trust has made a strategic commitment to closing the racial and ethnic wealth gap in Chicago. You'll hear from Dr. Gayle a little later in the program. During this last year, MPC made a significant transition in leadership. In January, it was our good fortune to welcome Darlene Hightower as MPC's new president and CEO. Darlene comes to us with more than 2 decades of executive leadership experience. We're grateful for Darlene's leadership and strategic vision for the future. You'll hear from Darlene in just a few minutes. But now, on behalf of MPC's Board of Governors, I would like to extend a sincere appreciation to the many sponsors of our 2022 annual event. We're extremely grateful to our presenting sponsor, PNC, our champion sponsors, ComEd and the PERT Foundation, our lead sponsors, our benefactor sponsors, our patron sponsors, and our media sponsor, Crane Chicago Business. Through these amazing event sponsorships, MPC can continue its important work. Each of you can make a significant impact as well. Later in the program, I will introduce our impact menu, which will demonstrate how you can help MPC advance equity and justice throughout the Chicago region. But you don't have to wait. Throughout the program, you can make a meaningful gift by simply clicking on the donation button at the top of the MPC website. Now, I invite you to sit back and enjoy the video that celebrates the evolution of MPC and its impact in Chicago region since it began in 1934.
Founded in 1934 and led by its first executive director, Elizabeth Wood, Metropolitan Planning Council was formed to improve the living conditions of Chicago's tenement housing. MPC knew early on that people are at the center of good planning. From its beginning, MPC has been committed to a Chicago region in which all communities have what they need to thrive.
The cost of segregation work really began as a question back in 2015. We did not know what we were going to find. We didn't know if we would find a clear answer to our question of what does it cost us to live so separately by race and income, but in fact we did. The reality is that a moral lens on this issue alone had really proven insufficient to move policy. So our question at MPC was really, could data move policy in a different way? We set up a really deliberate process of inquiry. We were listening more than we were talking. We really came to realize we were not telling the story of how to become a more integrated region. We really were telling the story of how to become a more racially equitable region. MPC is fundamentally a very pragmatic institution, right? We want to make changes that are felt in people's day-to-day lives. I think just a fundamental truth in this country is that race-neutral policies will never get us race-neutral results.
MPC knows that the river has many purposes. Recreation and enjoyment and ecological habitat is a really important purpose, but the river system is also about economic development. On certain parts of our river system, it's about industrial development. So MPC understands what comprehensive neighborhood and community planning is all about. The first thing that they did was they worked with thousands of Chicago stakeholders, residents, business interests, the philanthropic community in coming up with the vision. So they engaged 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people in creating the Our Great Rivers vision. And then we had the first vision for all of our river system. What it does is it connects our neighborhoods. And we've got 155 miles of riverfront land to connect. That's what excites me most. As cities around the globe compete for talent, they compete for resources. In the era of climate change, work on a river system now is more important than ever.
ETOD was an idea when we started Elevated Chicago was an idea that had been brought to the table by a variety of partners, including the Metropolitan Planning Council. Transit-oriented development for us means development that retains the local culture, retains residents, and does not contribute to displacement, and is development done not for the community, but with the community, and those most affected by the decisions made by planners and developers. Metropolitan Planning Council was not just a convener, they're also a doer. We have deployed about $10 million for equitable transit-oriented development in Chicago. That looks like affordable homes near transit, that looks like grocery stores that are walkable, that looks like community centers, health clinics, public art, climate resiliency interventions. We're changing systems, we're changing rules, we're also changing narratives, and we're doing that, again, following the voice of our community members.
We Will Chicago is just that. It is a plan, a vision for excellence in Chicago that will make the city thrive. It was so important for us to listen and then take action based on what we heard. It's all about centering community voice so that we have a stronger plan. We put together what we call a meeting in the box. Meeting in a box is a way for communities to engage in the process in their own spaces, in their own ways, just using a tool that helps get the most out of the conversation so that we have a stronger plan that reflects what people really think and what people want to see with the citywide plan. If we're successful in not just putting a plan together, but implementing this plan, we'll see stronger and better economic development, stronger and better infrastructure, more affordable housing, and importantly, we will have centered people's voices in this work. The vision that Metropolitan Planning Council has for the future is thriving communities, equitable infrastructure, and just public systems. Good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight for this virtual celebration of our 2022 annual event. I'm Darlene Hightower, MPC President and CEO. Each time I watch the video you just saw, I feel more inspired by the extraordinary work this organization has accomplished for nearly 90 years. As our event theme suggests, we're honoring our heritage and reflecting on our past accomplishments. But we are also evolving and will fully embrace the possibilities of the future. And that's what I want to talk about tonight, time and possibilities. Because this organization was built on a vision for bigger and better things for the Chicago region. Now, I'd like you to travel back in time with me so I can share a little more detail from the video you saw about MPC's historical moments. It's 1934, and a group of civic leaders get together with the goal of improving housing conditions in Chicago. That work led to the passage of the Illinois Housing Act. Now it's 1980s, and MPC provides advice and expertise on major projects like Navy Pier, the McCormick Place expansion, and the new Bear Stadium. Now it's the early 2000s, and MPC does work around economic development near transit with the goal of preserving open space, creating new jobs and affordable housing opportunities. This work is a precursor to what we call equitable transit-oriented development today. Now it's 2017, and MPC releases its Cost of Segregation report that envisions a stronger region based on tackling historical, racial, and economic segregation. It highlighted the truth that the entire region suffers because of segregation and inequity. And now here we are in 2022 in a Chicago region that continues to face great challenges, a never-ending pandemic, public safety, climate change, civil unrest, economic and health disparities, a declining population, and much more. These challenges are the exact opposite of what we want to see in a thriving region. So how do we make a difference today? We make a difference by building on our roots and imagining the possibilities of the future. Over the last 9 months, we've worked hard on a strategic plan that leverages our strengths while looking boldly toward the future. We're going to share that plan with you by the end of the year. But as a part of this planning and new vision, I see a Chicago region with thriving communities where people are affordably housed, have quality jobs, and are in safe neighborhoods. I see a Chicago region where equitable infrastructure exists and people can get around on safe and efficient transit. I see transformed public systems that center racial and economic equity, where every community has a voice, is valued, and thrives. Our region will never prosper if we keep ignoring the folks that have historically been left out. So how do we get there, and how can MPC help? I envision us doubling down on the We Will Chicago citywide plan and bringing together leaders in business, government, and the community to lift that plan up and bring it to fruition. This plan is focused on issues that we have worked on since this organization began: economic development, housing in neighborhoods, transportation and infrastructure, the bread and butter issues of MPC. Now, this is going to mean working across party lines. Whether you're in the red or the blue camp, we all want to see the Chicago region be better and stronger, and it'll take all of us to get there. I also envision the launch of the MPC Institute for Education and Training, where we will use our expertise to train leaders in government agencies, municipalities, and public institutions on equity issues to help them be more efficient and effective. An institute where we also support smaller community organizations that could benefit from our research and data expertise to support their own equity missions. Importantly, we can't just write reports. We can't just be a policy think tank. We have to think and do. We need to share our public expertise to make public systems and other organizations more equitable and efficient. An example is changing the cost of segregation report into curriculum that we train others on. That work has to be brought to life across organizations, agencies, and institutions. It can't just be a series of recommendations. We also have to focus on clear impact and outcomes. I came to this organization because I am and will always be a member of the GSD squad. Get stuff done. I want to see MPC have greater impact in our region. I want to see people and communities in our region thrive. So in closing, I am a futurist. I'm always thinking about the next thing and what could be. It's one of the reasons why I love science fiction, and I am a lifelong Trekkie. So thank you for joining me in a bit of time travel to honor the past and to embrace a glimpse of the future at MPC. And in the immortal words of one of the most iconic characters in sci-fi history, Mr. Spock, my greatest vision for all of us in the Chicago region is that we will live long and prosper. Thank you. It is now my distinct pleasure to present MPC's 2022 Champion Fighter Award to Dr. Helene Gayle and the Chicago Community Trust. For nearly 5 years, Dr. Gayle served as the president and CEO of the Chicago Community Trust. Under her leadership, the Trust adopted a 10-year strategic plan to address the racial and ethnic wealth gap in the Chicago region. This bold vision includes thinking differently about the role philanthropy can play for equity, justice, and thriving communities. Dr. Gayle and the Trust plan gets at the root cause of societal challenges such as violence, homelessness, food insecurity, the education gap, and many others. We are honored to celebrate Dr. Gayle and the Trust and join them in their efforts to make the Chicago region a more equitable place for everyone. Although Dr. Gayle has recently stepped down as president and CEO of the Chicago Community Trust and is now president of Spelman College in Atlanta, Georgia, she has graciously agreed to accept MPC's Champion Fighter Award for the incredible work she and the trust have done to advance racial and ethnic equity to overcome a growing wealth gap in the Chicago region. While she may be gone from Chicago, she and her work are not forgotten.
Thank you, Darlene, and thanks to your entire team. It's an honor to accept Metropolitan Planning Council's 2022 Champion Fighter Award, both personally and on behalf of my incredible colleagues at the Chicago Community Trust. As many of you know, I left the trust this summer to become president of Spelman College in Atlanta. I absolutely love my new job, and there's also something comfortable about being back at a city that had been home for many years. But that doesn't diminish the special place Chicago will always have in my heart, nor does it lessen the pride I feel about all that the Trust and MPC have accomplished together. MPC has been a longtime partner of the Trust going back decades. Today, as the Trust strives to close the region's racial and ethnic wealth gap, we know we can count on MPC to be there in lockstep. We are working together to create a stronger future with and for all residents of Chicago, centering their voices and equity in all that we do. The Trust strategy aims to close the wealth gap at the household, neighborhood, and community levels. Our collaboration with MPC spans our goals to grow household wealth, catalyze neighborhood investment, and build collective power. The Trust funded MPC's groundbreaking Cost of Segregation report to document the enormous price the entire region pays when 2/3 of our residents are shut out of economic opportunity and prosperity. That study's findings inspired and helped to shape our wealth gap strategy. MPC was an original member of the Trust affiliate, Elevated Chicago, which just a few months ago celebrated the passage of the Connected Communities Ordinance, the City of Chicago's first ever equitable transit-oriented development policy. The Connected Communities Ordinance will address historic disinvestments in Black and Latinx communities and avoid displacement triggered by gentrification. The Trust is also pleased to support MPC's pre-planning and stewardship of the We Will Chicago, the city's first comprehensive planning process in more than 50 years. We also provided grant support through our flexible funding program to enable 10 community-based organizations to engage and represent their constituencies at the We Will Chicago's planning tables. Our collaboration on Our Great Rivers is the perfect example of what happens when civic, government, community leaders, and residents come together to work towards a shared vision. Together, we are elevating the potential of the nature, recreational, and economic assets in more than 24 riverfront neighborhoods across the city. When the Trust launched its strategy to close the racial and ethnic wealth gap, we did so because we recognize that wealth inequity lies at the root of the region's most vexing challenges, from poverty to homelessness to violence. We also did so knowing that we could not close the gap alone. It will take all of us, philanthropy, business, government, nonprofits, and community residents, to stand together and stand up for change. One of the first things I saw when I moved to Chicago is that this city has one of the most engaged civic communities that I've ever seen, and I have lived in several cities. There's an incredible love of this city, an incredible sense of goodwill, an incredible commitment to make this a better place for all who live here. I'll be watching from afar, but I look forward to seeing what's next for MPC and the Chicago Community Trust as you partner to build a just and equitable region. Again, thank you for this incredible honor.
As you've heard, MPC has been at the forefront of positive change, addressing some of the most significant challenges that have confronted our city, counties, and state for nearly 90 years. While we're proud of our past, we know we're just getting started. We see an exciting future with a vision toward a more racially equitable and socially just Chicago region. You can help our vision become a reality by making an investment in our important work today. Simply use the donate button at the top of the MPC website screen. Now I'd like to share MPC's impact menu. Please consider supporting our innovative work as I walk through this menu with you. The first item on the menu is for $5,000. For this amount, you can invest in MPC's initiatives that are working to ensure safe drinking water for all. Your support will help MPC lead the charge for equitable water service, public education, and coalition building with water justice advocates. We're building a nationally relevant model for abundant, clean, and affordable drinking water. With your support, we can make a huge impact on public health and economic development. Please consider this important investment. You can contribute through the donation button at the top of the MPC web screen. The second item, a $2,000 investment, will help MPC strengthen Chicago region's resilience to changing climate. It's clear that we all benefit from walkable, bikeable, and transit-accessible communities that build resilience against climate change and allow for a much higher quality of living. We believe every community deserves quality transit infrastructure. That's why MPC is leading advocacy, research, and coalitions to create actionable transit and pedestrian plans. With your support of MPC's work in this area, communities will have decreased population, greater safety, and better access to jobs. Please invest in support of the transit-rich Chicago region. Again, simply use the donate button at the top of the MPC website screen. For $1,000, you can support MPC as it continues to work to create zoning that's fair for all Chicagoans. As I'm sure you know, Chicago's long history of exclusionary zoning codes has reinforced inequity and segregation. MPC is reevaluating zoning codes to encourage better health, greater racial equity, and a more resilient environment. Because this work has not been done in any other city, we can create a national model that leads to systemic change. Please consider investing in this extremely important, innovative, and exciting work. And the last item on the menu is for $100. For this amount, you can support MPC in its work towards equitable and accessible development. MPC is Chicago's trusted advisor for equitable transit-oriented development. For over a decade, we've advocated for policies that benefit Black and Brown communities while fighting displacement. With your support, we can continue to create meaningful change that leads to more affordable housing near transit, more walkable communities, and improvements in city planning. Please support MPC as it helps to create connected communities that have what they need to thrive. Again, simply use the donate button at the top of the MPC website screen. Without MPC, this work would not happen. Your investment today is critical to making transformation changes for a better Chicago and our 6 county regions. We are very grateful for your support. As the Metropolitan Planning Council annual event virtual celebration comes to a close, I would like to again congratulate Dr. Helene Gayle and the Chicago Community Trust for accepting the 2022 MPC Champion Fighter Award. We're grateful to the Trust for continuing its work to close the racial wealth gap in Chicago. I'd like to extend my sincerest appreciation to our event sponsors. Because of our sponsors and you, our generous supporters, we are able to hold this virtual celebration. You know it's because of your support that MPC is able to continue to do the incredibly important work that we've shared with you tonight. Thank you so much for your contributions. Your gifts are making a real impact throughout the Chicago region. Stay healthy and safe. Buenas noches and good night. Bye.